Here's a situation that I see a lot, and if you're watching this, there's a good chance you've done this too. You finally build a little cushion, not a massive one, just enough to stop sweating when your car makes that weird noise or when your phone screen cracks. You look at your bank account and you breathe. You tell yourself, okay, I'm safe now. I can chill a little. But here's the thing. That moment of relief can quietly become a trap, a comfort trap. And it turns out the exact number where people hit safe enough, around 7 grand, is where a lot of progress stops. Today we're going to break down why $7,000 feels safe, why it isn't, and what to do instead. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about emergency funds, small savings psychology, and the stupid little decisions that either destroy or supercharge your financial future. If you're someone who breathes a sigh of relief after reaching a few thousand in the bank, but still feels like you're treading water, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Okay, picture this. You're 28. You get a bonus at work. Over the last year, you skipped some nights out. You traded Uber for the bus, and you put the leftovers into a savings account. Your balance just crossed $7,000. You toast with a cheap beer, and you tell your friends you're doing pretty good now. Now, most people hear that and think, good, mission accomplished. But here's what most people don't realize. When $7,000 becomes the finish line, it's rarely because that number was chosen rationally. It's chosen emotionally. It's chosen because it feels safe enough to stop uncomfortable behaviors. And once behaviors change, you stop automating savings. You stop hustling, you stop tracking anything. The compound growth you could get from continuing never gets a chance to happen. Let me anchor this with a couple of real numbers so we're not floating in hypotheticals. The median American has roughly $8,000 in transaction accounts. That's checking, savings, and similar accounts combined. Also, and this matters, only around half of Americans have enough emergency savings to cover 3 months of expenses. That means people are treating something like $7,000 or $8,000 as a psychological milestone, even though it may not be enough for their real-life shocks. Here's what most people don't realize. Those headline medians shape expectations. People compare themselves to the median and then make decisions like the median is good enough. But medians are not safety plans. They're just averages of other people who frankly are still figuring things out. Let's break this down into 2 parts, the psychology and the math. First, psychology. Humans are wired for satisficing, finding the first acceptable solution, and stopping. We also have mental accounting. We categorize money into save, fun, and invest. Once a number is placed into the safe jar, we stop touching it and we often stop building more safety. There's also status quo bias. Once we accept a new normal, we'll stick to it even if a better option exists. Now the math, I want to show a simple comparison that makes this painfully obvious. Imagine 2 people. Person A hits $7,000 in savings and then stops automating any more savings. They keep that $7,000 in an account earning basically 0 interest. Person B hits $7,000 but keeps automating $200 a month into investments that average 7% annual return, a reasonable long-term equity return assumption. If person B invests $200 every month for 20 years at 7% annual return, that $200 grows to about $104,185. If you leave $7,000 as a lump sum in a low-earning account for 20 years, with a low 2% return, it only becomes about $10,400, or essentially nothing, compared to the compounded effect of regular investing. So the real opportunity cost of treating $7,000 as an endpoint is not just leaving $7,000 on the table. It's skipping the habits that multiply modest amounts into life-changing sums. That $200 per month? That's coffee money. That's Netflix money. And over 2 decades, it becomes 6 figures. That's the math that rarely gets celebrated in the excitement of hitting a safe milestone. And here's another number to make this even more urgent. Nearly 3 in 4 Americans say they saved less for emergency expenses this year because of inflation, higher prices, or a change in income. That means people are trending toward less cushion, not more. Yet they still treat small cushions as milestones. Plus, about a third of people admit they're more likely to spend money when they're stressed. So even when someone reaches a small cushion, Emotional spending is right there to eat it up. That's a psychological double whammy. Now, you might be thinking, Nick, wait, I need to feel safe. I don't want to be constantly stressed about money. Totally fair. Feeling safe is a valid and necessary part of financial health. I'm not arguing against having an emergency cushion. What I am arguing against is treating a psychological milestone as the final plan. Here's the practical distinction. Safety, a plan that covers how you'll handle shocks, not a single number that makes you feel like you don't need a plan anymore. A system gives you options without the drama. Okay, so what is a real system? I want to give you something you can implement today. A proper safety system has 3 layers. Buffer, short-term liquid cash, enough to cover the small, frequent shocks that otherwise ruin your month. This could be $1,000 to $3,000 if you're single and low expense, or 1 to 3 months of expenses if you have dependents. Shock fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses. This is the I lose my job fund, or the car needs an engine fund. This needs to be realistic to your life, not someone else's median. Growth plan, automated investing plus debt reduction plus sidelines. Once the buffer and shock funds exist, everything extra should have a path. Invest, pay high-interest debt, buy income-producing assets, or build skill-based income. Here's the key behavioral move. Automate transitions between tiers. Don't stop automatic transfers when you hit a number. Redirect them. If you hit $7,000 in your buffer, keep the automation. Redirect the same monthly amount to investments or debt paydown. That preserves the habit that created the $7,000 in the first place. Let me hammer this home with that $200 per month example because it's so underrated. $200 per month at 7% for 10 years becomes about $34,617. The same $200 per month at 7% for 20 years becomes about $104,185. Meanwhile, $7,000 sitting in a low-rate account for 20 years at 2% becomes about $10,400. The difference between continuing the habit and stopping at $7,000 is massive. Those tiny monthly amounts, the money you think is too small, are the secret engine of long-term wealth. I don't say that lightly. This is a weird one. For some people, $7,000 is too much to keep in cash. Why? Because it robs the portfolio of returns. If you already have a secure job, strong income, and insurance coverage, 3 months of expenses might be $6,000. And the extra $1,000 sitting in cash is better off invested. That extra comfort often acts like a brake, because people treat it as a reason to slow down. Tough love. Money kept for emotional comfort that blocks growth is bad money. But what if I lose my job? That's exactly why you have a shock fund. Don't confuse the shock fund with the habit that will build your future wealth. What about inflation? Keep part of your cushion in ultra-short-term bond-like accounts if you're worried about inflation erosion. Is investing guaranteed? No. But stagnation has a certainty. It guarantees you'll miss compound growth. Quick recap. $7,000 feels safe, and for many people that feeling is useful, but not sufficient. The danger is treating that feeling as the end point. Safety is not a single number. It's a system. Preserve your habit. Automate, redirect. Keep your buffer, build your shock fund realistically, and then let compounding do its quiet work. Here's my final thought. Comfort is a beautiful thing. But comfort without progress becomes complacency. If you've ever hit a little milestone and then stopped, I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to give you the map out of the trap. Start by automating one small transfer this week and label it Future Nick or Future You. The person who your money becomes in 10 years depends on that one tiny step. If this video helped you, do one small thing. Hit subscribe, slap that like button. It literally helps the channel. And tell me in the comments if you've ever hit a money milestone and then slowed down. I read every single comment. Thanks for watching. I'm Nick. Keep the habit, beat the trap, and I'll see you in the next one.